Okay, so the topic is, according to my judgment, is the most important topic in the Jewish life of today. Jewish identity. Jewish identity is in crisis. We have here in America 6 million Jews, but this number is steady in the last 70 years. That was the number of Jews in America after the World War II, and it didn't grow, which means that we lost people. We lost a lot of Jews for assimilation, and the bottom line, it doesn't matter. The bottom line of the Jewish nation losing people. Of course, that raises a question, why? And probably the answer is people do not understand what Judaism is all about, how precious it is, and why to keep it. So I want, in the beginning of this talk, to start with what is it? Well, what's the definition of being a Jew? Now, as Jews who care about the Jewish people, we have to be aware of in the history, we have many powers that want, from different reasons, to eliminate us, that will not be Jews anymore. It's not the modern anti-Semitism. It was there for the first time, which means that there is something in Judaism that caused different kind of people in the world to just eliminate it. I want to show you a verse in Tehillim, in Psalms. David HaMelech wrote it close to 3,000 years ago, and it never changed. This is the slogan that many nations in the world could just adopt as their slogan, and this is the verse in Psalms in Tehillim 83, Pei Gimel, אמרו לכו ונכחידם מגוי ולא ייזכר שם ישראל עוד. They said, they declare, they state, we want to eliminate them, that will not be, the name Israel, the name Jew, the name Israel will not be mentioned anymore. And again, the question is why? Why we so, attract fire? So in order to understand, we have to understand what Judaism is all about. Okay, so let me show you something. For those of you who a little bit understand Hebrew, it will be much more easy to understand. I'll try to translate everything. Judaism comes from the Hebrew word Yehuda. Yehuda. Yehuda was one of the tribes, right? One of the sons of Yakov. Jacob was Yehuda. There is something very interesting, deep in the Jewish philosophy and the Kabbalah, that names in the Tanakh, in the Bible, are not just arbitrary. Every name has a meaning. The name of people, the names of anything has meaning. So in order to understand or appreciate it, you have to understand Hebrew. When Yehuda was born, Yehuda was the fourth son of Yakov, the fourth son of Leah, right? So it says in the Torah that when Leah gave birth to Yehuda, she named him Yehuda, right? I'll skip a few things. Look at this. In Genesis 29, Vatahar od vatelet ben. We're talking about Leah. Vatahar od vatelet ben, that was her fourth son. Vatomer, hapam odeh et Hashem. This time, I'm going to thank God. Odeh et Hashem. This time, after I got 3 sons, and now the 4th one, it's time to thank God. Al ken kara shmo Yehuda. So in Hebrew, Yehuda comes from the root of thank, lehodot. But in Hebrew, the word lehodot, even in the modern Hebrew, has 2 meanings. Lehodot is to thank and to admit, that the fact is like this, I realize the reality and I say, this is it. That's called hoda'ah, lehodot, to admit. So Leah thought that the best name for this kid will be thank you, or lehodot. The Gemara in Masechet Brachot says about this. Amar Rabbi Yochanan mishum Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. You heard about Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. He was one of the great Tanaim. He wrote the Zohar, the Kabbalah, right? So he says the following: Miyom shebara Kadosh Baruch Hu et olamo. Since the day God created the world, lo haya adam shehoda lakadosh Baruch Hu ad sheba'ata le'a vehodato. No one since the creation, even though there were many good, righteous people before, no one thanked Hashem until Leah. Leah was the first one to thank Hashem. Hapam odet Hashem. Okay, now, as I said before, names are not arbitrary. Names, in the Kabbalah sources, it says that when parents choose to give a name to their baby, and we're talking about meaningful names, like the names in the Bible. When, says the Ari HaKadosh, one of the great scholars of the Kabbalah, lived about 500 years ago, he said the following: when parents choosing from many, many options, what's the name that they want to give to their baby? Actually, a prophet speaks from their voice. Nizreket nevuah mipihem. What's nevuah? So, every soul that comes to this world has a purpose, has a mission. And it, like the soul of the baby, just putting in the head of the parents the right name for it. And this name is the definition of this baby. That's what's written in Kabbalah sources. But now, when you go to check it out, you'll find something amazing, especially about Yehuda. If you know just a little bit the stories in the Tanakh, Yehuda was born, grew up. You remember the stories that he has 3 sons and he wanted to marry them all off, right? So he chose a wife for his oldest son, Er. Her name was Tamar. And then he passed away, his first boy. And then he offered Tamar to his brother. He also was bad, also died. And then was Sheila. He was the little one, right? And if you remember the story, she's supposed to marry Sheila, but Yehuda was scared. He said, I don't know, 2 husbands died. Who knows, maybe she has bad luck, right? So he tried to delay it. She realized that he's not really happy to marry her off with his son Sheila. So she dressed up. Remember the story? She dressed up and she waited for him on the way, and it comes in the way that he has a relationship with her and she becomes pregnant from her father-in-law, right? When it was realized, they came to a judge. Remember the story? I hope. Okay? So they came and he was the judge. And they say, what's going on? She's pregnant, she did something wrong. So actually, according to the law at the time, it was a death penalty. When she was about to be put to death, she came to him and said, you know, I will not say anything, but let me hint for you who is the father. And she took, his stick and the other stuff, and now he has a big dilemma. If he will admit that he is the father, that will be a very not pleasant to him, for his reputation. But if not, if he will admit, he will save the babies. And that's his kids. So many people in this situation probably will care more about their reputation, not Yehuda. Yehuda, because the essence of Yehuda is to admit, even if it's hard, he said the truth. And he saved the baby. And you know what he did when he saved the baby? This baby was the father of the father of King David, and the father of the father of the father of Mashiach, right? So we find out that in his character of Yehuda, he has the strength to admit when it's really hard, because the truth is more important than anything else. So you see how the name influence or actually reflect what he was. Okay, now let's go to apparently different thing, but it's connected. The Jews, actually in the Tanakh, in the 5 books of Moses, you'll never find the title of the nation as Jews, Jewish. Only the children of Israel, Bnei Israel. That's what mentioned in Chamisha Chumshei Torah. So, since when we are Jews, which is Yehudim, which is Yehuda, and in a way it's not correct. Why? Because Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are the fathers of the entire nation. But when you go to the next generation, the tribes are not the fathers of the entire Jews. Each one is the father of his tribe. So Reuven is the father of the tribe of Reuven. Levi. But now we find out that all the Jews are going under the name of Yehuda. And the question is, not all of us are descendants of Yehuda. We could prove that at least very, very certain group are not. Who? The Kohanim and the Levim. Anyone who is a Kohen or a Levi, it means that he is a descendant of Aaron a Kohen. Aaron came from the tribe of Levi. So how come Kohanim and Levim among us and all of us called Jews? It should be more accurate to say the children of Israel. And here comes very interesting thing. Yaakov, which was the last, the third of the forefathers, at the last day of his life, the Torah described, he gathered together all the tribes, and he gave each one of them a blessing. Right? It's the end of Genesis. I'll show you. He gave each one a blessing, and actually the blessing was to design the job or the mission of this tribe in the entire nation for generations, for the history. So he gave each one of them thing. One of the thing, let's go to what he said to Yehuda. So that's one of the sentence that he said to Yehuda, the beginning, the opening, the blessing. Yehuda, that's Yaakov saying to Yehuda. Yehuda, ata yoducha achecha. Yehuda, you, apparently, they will thank you. Your brothers, meaning that the rest of the tribes, will thank you. Yoducha achecha. Yadcha be'oref oivecha. You'll be strong. So if there will be any wars, you will be the one who overcome the enemy. Yadcha be'oref oivecha. Yishtachavu lecha bnei avicha. You are the king. They all will bow down to you. That's what's written in the simple understanding, right? Every pasuk in the Torah, every verse in the Tanakh has 4 levels. If you heard about the initials Pardes, Pshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod, meaning its initials. Pshat is the simple understanding. Remez is the hint, meaning in the same letters, in the same words, there are hints. How the hints? By if you take only the first letter from each word, or the last letter, or you jump in. Okay, that's hint. Over there, you could find a whole realm of information by itself. Then there is a deeper level called drash. Drash is to demand, to understand why it's written this way when it could be written in a different way. And the deepest level is the secret, the sod, the secret, which is the Kabbalah, the mysticism. When you translate from any language to any language, the translation always is choosing one of the options of how to understand the words, right? Some words, in every language, some words has more than one meaning. How do you know the meaning? if you understand the context, right? So when you translate from one language to the other language, you have to choose, according to the context, what is the right thing. And it's very rare and too impossible that this word in the other language will have the same double meaning. Very, very rare. Therefore, you have to choose, right? So if you know, the Torah was translated to Aramaic by few translators, Unkelos, and Yonatan ben Uziel, and Targum Yerushalmi. There are different translations. The translations actually explain to us what the meaning of the original is. One of the translators of the Torah is Targum Yerushalmi. That's the name of the translator. So when he translates this, he said something very interesting. In the original, in Hebrew, Yehuda ata yoducha achecha. So as I said before, Yehuda, Yaakov says to Yehuda, your brother will thank you. Thank you for what? Will thank you. And they will bow down to you. Look at the Targum. The translation says the following. Yehuda lecha yehodun kol achach. It's in Aramaic. I'll translate it. Yehuda, for you, all your brother will thank. Now, he continues and says, Ve'al shimcha yitkar'un kol Yehudai. And on your name will be named all the Jews. Yaakov said that to Yehuda. Now, we have to understand, he gave him a great gift. Why? Because we all actually should be on the name of Yaakov. And it was like this during the time of the Torah. Yisrael, Bnei Israel. So here Yaakov took one of his children and he said, no, from now on, everyone will not be on my name only, but also on your name. Why? Why give them this gift? And we know that during the history, until now, today, we are known as Jews, which is Yehuda, right? So there is something very, very deep in this, and that will take us to understand what Judaism is all about. In Megillas Esther, in Purim, we read the Megillah, right? I'm not going to give you a big Megillah now, the whole Megillah. But the story of the Megillah is known, right? The hero of the Megillah, the two heroes of the Megillah were Mordechai and Esther. Mordechai was the uncle of Esther, and they saved the Jews at the time. That was the miracle of Purim, right? When the Megillah described, the Tanakh described, the Bible described the Megillah, who was Mordechai? It says in the middle of the second chapter of the Megillah, the following: Ish Yehudi haya b'Shushan Abira. Shushan was the capital of the place there, and the Megillah described it was a Jew, Ish Yehudi, and this is in the Bible. Ish Yehudi. So Mordechai described as a Jew, Ish Yehudi haya b'Shushan Abira, ushmo, and his name Mordechai ben Yair ben Shimi ben Kish, Ish Yamini. And here the Megillah gives the dynasty. His name was Mordechai. He was the son of Yair, and Yair was the son of Shimi, and Shimi was the son of Kish. And at the end it says Ish Yemini. What's Ish Yemini? Ish Yemini, he came from Yamin. What's Yamin? One of the tribes was Binyamin. Binyamin, actually, it's separation. It's one name, Binyamin. You know the name Binyamin, Benji, right? Binyamin. Actually, two words. Ben Yamin, a son of Yamin. So when the Tanakh described, the Megillah described Mordechai was from the tribe of Binyamin. So the Gemara in Masechet Megillah asks, if he came from Binyamin, how come you called him Ish Yehudi? Yehudi, that means that he came from Yehuda. But Ish Yemini came from Binyamin, so what's going on over here? So the Gemara says this secret. And here's the secret of what is the meaning to be a Jew. Says the Gemara, actually, he came from Binyamin. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Le'olam Binyamin Ka'ati. He is genealogically from Binyamin. Why he was called Yehudi, says the Gemara, על שם שכפר בעבודה זרה, because he denied idols. שכל הכופר בעבודה זרה נקרא יהודי. This is the definition. What's Yehudi? To admit. What's Yehuda? To admit. I mean, look at the reality and say, this is the reality. And, of course, anything that's not the real reality will be denied. So what was the story of Mordechai? How the entire thing started? When Haman gets from the king that everyone should bow down to him. Remember in the Megillah? And everyone bowed down to him but Mordechai. Mordechai said, no, I'm not bowing down only to Hashem. I'm not bowing down to you. So the Gemara says that actually Haman thought himself more than just an important figure in the administration of Ahasuerus. He thought himself like God. He made himself Avodah Zarah, like idol. So Mordechai refused to bow down to any idol, of course, Haman, right? And because of that, he deserved the title Yehudi. Because what is Yehudi? To admit the truth. And the truth is that he is not. Therefore, he called Yehudi. And that's why, actually, the deep understanding of what Yakov did when he gave the name Yehud, he gave the name to all the Jews, all the tribes, under the name of Yehuda. Let's just make some order in this. If you remember, Yaakov was not born with the name Israel. His parents, when he was born, gave him the name Yaakov, right? Where he himself got the name Israel from?
When he wrestled the angel.
Exactly. When he wrestled the angel of Esau, and then the angel told him, Hashem gonna change your name. Your name is not gonna be Yaakov anymore, but Israel. Many people know this, but do not understand the meaning. Let's go back to his original name. What was his original name? Yaakov. Why? Again, you have to understand a little bit of Hebrew. When he was born, it was the twins, right? They were twins, Esau and Yaakov. Esau was the first one to jump out. And it says that when in the delivery, when Esau went out, Yaakov was holding his heel, meaning it was a fight. Who is going to be the firstborn? And Esau jumped out. So Yaakov hold his heel in order to pull him back in and go first. But he failed. Therefore, his name was Yaakov because in Hebrew, heel is akev. Akev is the end of the body, right? The akev, the heel. So his name Yaakov actually is it's a description of the failure of being the first, right? This is the meaning of Yaakov. Now he has fight with his brother, even when before that in the womb, and after that, if you know the selling of the firstborn rights and everything. And then we come to the wrestling with his angel. When the angel came and attacked him, he could not really won, the angel. Therefore, and Yaakov hold him, and came the morning and he said, I have to go. He told him, well, you're not going that fast. I'm holding you. You want to go? Please bless me. Bless me meaning give me. What are we fighting about? We're fighting about who is the main, who is the first. Esau sold the Bechorah to me, the firstborn rights. Now you came after me to chase me. Now you're in my hands, I will not release you until you admit that I am the firstborn, I mean in the rights of the firstborn. He has no choice. And he said, okay. So what was the blessing? The blessing was switching the name from Yaakov to Israel. And here we have to understand what Israel is. Yaakov, as we said, meaning that he is under Esau. He is in the hill. What Israel? Israel is ki sarita im Elohim ve'im anashim v'tuchal. Meaning, sarita is to be a minister, to be a ruler. Im Elohim meaning with gods. What do you mean gods? Gods is a power in Hebrew. So every nation in the world has a spiritual source in the upper world that in charge of the interest of this nation. So here comes the angel of Exile, and Yaakov is holding him, and he told him, "I'm release you only if we'll admit." And he told him that his name going to be switched from Yaakov, like under, to Israel. Meaning, what's the meaning of the word Israel? You know, many people talk about Israel. What Israel? Israel in Hebrew are two words. Yisrael. El is God, the last two letters, Aleph Lamed. But what Yisra? Ruler. Ruler, Srara. So he changed his name. You are the representative of God, Israel. This is the meaning of the word Israel, for those of you who do not know. Israel is, we are the representative of God in the world. So Yaakov deserved this name. Then, at the last day of his life, he gave blessing to all the tribes. And he chose Yehuda, and he said, all the Jews will be named under you, after you. What is the meaning of this? The thing is that Israel and Yehuda is actually the same thing from philosophical point of view. Israel is that Hashem and only Hashem, only one, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, is the only one. He is the power behind everything in the world. That's the name, that's the meaning of the name Israel. What's Yehuda? It's the same thing in the opposite way, in the negative way. If Hashem is the only one, meaning that any other force is not the right one. And that's what's written here in the Gemara, that to be a Jew is to admit what's right and deny what's wrong. This is the meaning of Yehuda, to admit what's right, deny what's wrong. Okay, so this is the meaning of being Jewish. And this very thing is the problem that the nation of the world has with us. Why? Because we're saying that you are wrong. You are wrong. Because you have to know, all the nation of the world called in the Tanakh and in the Jewish philosophy idol worshippers. I don't know if you know this in Hebrew. Ovdei kochavim umazalot. Ovdei kochavim umazalot meaning a worshipper of the stars and
Constellations.
yeah, this. Constellations?
Constellation, the zodiac.
Zodiacs. And, okay. Ovdei kochavim umazalot. In the Torah also, in the Torah, the verses of the Torah, idols called Elilim. Ovdei Elilim. Again in Hebrew, what's Elil? Elil has in it, the word Elil, 4 letters, Aleph Lamed, Yud Lamed, Elil, has in it, of course, the main letters are the letters Aleph Lamed. What's Aleph Lamed in Hebrew? Power. Yesh le'el yadi la'asot lachem me'uma. I have in my mighty, I have in my strength. El is power. Power. So the power behind all powers is God. He created all the powers, right? There is only one God, meaning only one real, meaningful, true power. Idol worshippers take powers, real powers, that God created and relate to them as they are the main power instead of the real main power. And this is the wrong. This is wrong, and you have to know, every non-Jew in the world obligated to the 7 commandments of Noah. The first one of them, and that obligated every human being, every intelligent human being, not to relate to any power in the world like the main one. And if he do that, he's doing wrong according to his obligation as a non-Jew. Avraham Avinu was the first one to make it known that there is one God only. He was the one who did the monotheism revolution. Avraham. He gave it to Yakov, Yakov to Yitzchak, Yitzchak to Yaakov. And this is the name Yisrael. Yisrael meaning El, power. There is only one power. The idol worshippers took powers, but powers that was created by God, and used to them as a substitute to God himself. And this is what's wrong. in Hebrew, when you want to talk about the main thing and a smaller substitute of it, you could find it in many words, like a tree. How do you say tree in Hebrew? Etz. When you have a small plant, you know, that you put in the house, how do you call it in Hebrew? A plant. Atzitz. Atzitz meaning etz with ayin tzadik, with yud tzadik at the end, again, atzitz, which make it a smaller one. It etz, but a smaller one. Here also the explanation of elil. Elil is el, power, but a smaller one. Elil. Elil, right? Now, Haman wants to make himself as God. Everyone should bow down to him. Mordechai said, no, I'm not bowing down to you, even if you kill me. I will not. There is only one God. So Yehuda actually is the same thing, the same meaning of Israel. Israel is the rule of the only El, only power. Yehuda is to admit that this is the only one and deny the others. Okay? This is the meaning of the name Yehuda. So when Yaakov gave to Yehuda this gift, that instead of being named, the nation will be named on my name, it will be also named on your name. Actually, it's the same thing. Here's the positive description, here's the negative description. Deny, not true. Deny the lie. And this is the problem. This is the problem that we have. We coming and standing in front of the world and we say, there's only one truth. We know it, you are wrong. That's the reason for hatred. That's why they hate us. You know, in America today, with this philosophy of everyone is right, you know what, as long as you enjoy it, fine. But don't say that I'm wrong. That's not nice, right? From philosophical point of view, you could not have compromises with this. There's only one truth and the rest just lie. So when the Jews, this chutzpahdik Jews, coming to the world and say, you are wrong, there is only one truth, we know it. Here comes the... Now, during the history, we have to know, Jews were so sure about their truth. I don't have time to this now. This is a whole topic by itself. Very important one, to understand what belief, what emunah is in Judaism. It's not what many people think, even people who consider themselves believers. We do not believe. We know, and there is a difference between knowledge and belief. Believe, I tend to think so, but I could not prove it. I believe, it's a matter, you know, I feel so. Judaism is not based on belief, on blind faith, on blind believing. Blind faith is good for every other religion in the world, but Judaism. Jews are not foolish. Jews are the last one that you could ask them, you know what, trust me. Trust me. What? Prove it. If not, don't waste my time and your time. Go away. Jews are very stubborn, as you know, and Jews are really they are smart, and they are demanding. I'm not going to do anything unless I'm be sure about it. I need proofs. We have to know. We have the proofs. We are the only religion in the world that have proofs. Why? Because we are the only religion in the world, and they admit to this. We are the only nation in the world that claim that the entire nation saw God. Not just by Exodus taking us off Mitzrayim by the miracles, but in Sinai. In Sinai, God revealed himself, and Christians agree about this. They agree that everything in what they call the Old Testament, and we call the Only Testament, they agree that everything is accurate. Meaning that the entire nation was there at Sinai and God talked to them. Panim befanim, face to face, diber Hashem imachem. Or every other religion, started from one person who said the same thing. You know, God talked to me. Who was there? Me and him. You have to believe me. So how could you believe? I mean, you could believe, but are you going to be sure? Maybe he is crooked. Maybe he's a liar. Maybe he imagined things. So it's always with the doubt. The first generation of Jews, and we're talking about millions of people, millions of people. Just take the numbers. The Torah described that the people who went out of Mitzrayim were 600,000 men from the age of 20 to the age of 60. Same number of ladies, 1,200,000. How many children? A lot. Remember why the Egyptians hated us? Because Bnei Israel, Paru, Vayishretzu, they were multiplied. So let's assume that it was only 10 kids in each family, which is possible, even 5. If it's 10 kids in each family, 600,000 families, you're talking about 6 million only children from the age of 0 to the age of 20. So we're talking about millions of people. And those people are the most criticized people in the world, as you know, if you know Jews. You cannot sell them nonsense. They will check you out. And we see the description in the Tanakh, they made so much problems to Moses during the time, who said and why they're very demanding and annoying, as you know them. Look at the mirror. You cannot just sell them things. They're stubborn, and they passed it from generation to generation to generation. We have a testimony that going every generation that this is the truth. You know how? In many ways. Let me give you one example. Friday night, during the history, we're talking about 3,300 years. Friday night, every Jewish family during the history got together to a festive meal. Friday night, right? Sudat Shabbat. Before they do the meal, what's happening? The Kiddush. The old person in the family, could be the grandfather, the father, gather the family around him, and before they start the meal, they do Kiddush. What they say in the Kiddush? They said, you know why we're doing this? What is the reason for the festive meal every week and this and today? You know why? We're saying in the Kiddush. Be aware of this. Next Friday, just listen to this. It's amazing. Why are we doing this? Zecher li'yetziat Mitzrayim. In the memory of Exodus. We sang it in the Kiddush, right? The meaning of this, that we have a testimony, that going 3,300 years in every family, from the oldest person to the family to the rest of the family, testify that this is done Zecher li'yetziat Mitzrayim, in the memory of Yetziat Mitzrayim. You could not do memory for an event that never happened. You cannot. Because if it's never happened, we should explain how it started. One day, someone came from nowhere and said, tell the entire story, right? And convince Jews to pass it to their children. Forget about it. It's impossible. This is every Shabbos, every Shabbat. We're doing every year. At the time, at this very day that we got the Torah, which is Vav B'Sivan, we have the holiday of Shavuot, right? What are we saying? We're taking the children to shul, and we learn the entire night, the Torah, when it started, at the time. So it's going straight. We're doing Pesach every year, in the same night that was the Makat Bechorot, when the firstborn was killed. But we're doing this during the history. And we were scattered all over the world. And it was not easy during a lot period of time during the exile to perform those things. But Jews was ready to die, and they did die in order to do it. So we have the truth that no one has. We're talking about millions of people, stubborn people, smart people, who passing this testimony. No other religion in the world has it. Take Christianity. We are here in America, a very Christian place, right? They have billions of people. Today we're talking about 2 billion Christians today. Double it, or with 2,000 years. Talking about billions of people. So people could say, you have the truth. We have other billions of people, different religions, that say just something else. So how could you be sure that you have the truth? What is the answer? how Christianity started. Who started the religion? One person. You know what his name?
Paul.
Paul, not Jesus. Jesus was a Jew. He lives as a Jew. He died as a Jew. He never think about Christianity. The one who made Christianity in the beginning was Paul, and then the Caesar Constantine made it as the religion of Europe. Anyone saw God telling them this is a new truth? No one. They just believe. So numbers of people with the claim of we believe is much less than million of people who say we know, we do not believe, we saw. We saw the things, right? So when we stand in front of the world and saying we have the truth, this is really irritating. This is the cause of anti-Semitism. But Jews were so stubborn, and that's why Hashem chose us. You know, one of the questions that you could ask, we're saying when we read the Torah, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, He chose us from all the nations. That was the smart choice. Jews, they have a very difficult character. They're stubborn. They make a lot of problems. Why He chose us? He could choose, you know, nice character nations. Like, I don't know, let's say the Taiwanese, or people, you know, you tell them what to do, they do, no questions, no chachmas, do what. Why Hashem chose us? Because we have a that in order to do it, we have to be stubborn. We could be stubborn in the right way, to be stubborn for the truth. But we have free will, and sometimes or many times we use this stubbornness to do wrong stuff. But this is a condition for us to be who we should be. Today, we are in exile for a long time. And the exile is not just that we are not in our territory, which is the land of Israel. The exile has, the main exile, the accurate definition of exile is not when the nation is not on their land, but when things are not in their place. So we are among the nations since the destruction of the second temple, close to 2,000 years. And unfortunately today, many Jews have no clue what Judaism is. And they relate to their religion the same way the other relate to their religion. And therefore, okay, so you have this, I have that, fine. Problem is that when you do not know that the essence of Judaism is the truth, and the absolute truth, and the only truth, you can make compromises. And what happens when you can make compromises? You lose the essence of being Jew, of the real meaning of being Jewish. And we find out that many Jews do not care anymore about the original Judaism. They try to change it, to make it nicer, to make it fit the time and the fashion. And the fact is that we're losing them. This is the fact. Assimilation today just take many Jews away from Judaism. They are our brothers and sisters, but because of their choice, which based not on not knowing what's right, they're not wicked, but they just do not know what Judaism is all about. So everything is fine. If everything is fine, why not assimilate? You know, many people. I'm a Jew. You know, in the tradition. I am a Jew in the dynasty. My mother, my father was Jewish. The fact is that we're losing them. And that's why I think the most important thing today is to explain what Judaism is all about. Judaism is the truth, and the truth is total. You cannot have some, you know, if I ask you, how many people are in this room? Let's say there are 100 people in this room, right? This is the number. If I'll ask you what's the number, and someone will say, there are only 5 people. It's a lie, obvious lie, right? What if they say there are 99 people? Is it more close to the truth? No, it's the same lie. Because the truth is the truth is total. There is no compromises in this. And anyone who wants to do compromises with the truth will find themselves out. And that's what's unfortunately happening. You know, let me just, sometimes it's hard to talk about this because people do not want to face the truth. But we have to say it. At least I have no problem to say it. I hope you will stay my friends after. 70 years ago, approximately 72 years ago, was the end of the most terrible thing that happened to us in the last few generations, which is the Holocaust. In the Holocaust, we find anti-Semitism in a very cruel way by the Nazis, deciding to eliminate the Jews from under the world. So everyone knows the stories. Jews was moving from their places all over to Auschwitz in order to be killed. And the purpose of the Nazism by their ideology is to not leave one Jew under the earth. And they did it for a few years. They killed 1/3 of the Jewish nation, and if it was in their power, they will continue to the end. That was their ideology. Of course, as Jews, we look at it and say, this is the most terrible things that happened to us. Anyone that will have any ability at the time to save Jews, any Jew, will do whatever he could. She could, right? Whatever. To save one Jew or save, let's say few Jews. We remember the Holocaust. We have museums in Washington, in Israel. We mention it the day of the Holocaust because we want the Jews and the world to remember this terrible thing, right? What we forget, that the Holocaust is not ended. The Holocaust is right here. Since the Holocaust, since the end of the World War II, we lost a lot of Jews. And it doesn't matter whatsoever. The bottom line is that those Jews are not with us and they will not be with us forever. It doesn't matter if we lost them through the crematorium in Auschwitz or in different way. Now let me tell you something. Let's go back to Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov and Esau. Esau hated Yaakov, and he decided to kill him. You know, after the story with the blessing, that Yaakov took them, and Esau realized, and then he made a decision. Vayomer Esau belibo. Esau decided in his heart, Yikrevu yemei evel aviv v'harga et Yaakov achi. I'm going to kill him. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that we mentioned his name before, says, Halacha hi beyadua she'esav soneh leYaakov. This something, halacha is clear cut. But it's very clear that Esau hate Yaakov. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai told it, say this, at the time of the Romans, which relate to Esau. They are the destructor. They destroyed the second temple. They killed the 10 rabbis. One of them was Rabbi Akiva, which was his personal rabbi. And he knows what he's talking about. And the decision of Esau is not over. It's still there to the end of days. Only at the end of days, there is a promise by the Tanakh, by the Nevi'im, the prophets in the Tanakh. Ve'alu Mosheim ba'ar Tzion lishpot et Esav. But until then, we have a constant conflict between us and Esau. One of the things that we have to learn, that Yaakov gave us the recipe of how to survive the conflict in the right way. In Parshas Vayishlach, after he was 20 years by Lavan, and he came back to the land of Canaan, he sent messengers, if you remember Parashat Vayishlach. The messengers came back to him and said, Esau is still hate you very much. He come with 400 soldiers to kill you. Yaakov got really scared. Now he has a whole family, the tribes. They were still little kids, but if he will succeed, forget it. Finish. The Yaakov will be finished. So he did three things. He divided the group to two groups. And he said, Im yavo Esav el hamachaneh echad ve'ikau, at least the other part of the group will survive. That's one thing. The other thing, he's pray to God. He davened to God. And the third thing, which was a very, very useful thing during the history, he bribed him. He gave him gifts. Easy 200, Yashim 20. He gave him, because Esav hates Yaakov, but he loved money. And if we could give him money, he will say, you know what, I'll kill him later. Let's have their money now. And this way, we survived during the history by bribing him. I want just to conclude, to relate to the prayer that Yaakov says to God. Yaakov says something that seems very interesting. He said, Hatzileni na miyad achi miyad Esav. He prayed to Hashem, to God, and he said, save me please from my brother, from Esav. And the question is, why he mentioned the brotherhood of Esav? Save me from Esav. Who's Esav? Esav is the one with the sword. He came to kill me. This is the time to mention that he is my brother. The secret in this is the following. What Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says is so true. Esav decided strategic decision to kill, to eliminate Yaakov. There are two ways of Esav to kill Yaakov, to eliminate him. By the sword, which they did during the history, and the Nazis did. But there is another way, much more dangerous. Not by coming to us with a sword and kill us, but by hugging us as brothers. A bear hug. In the Holocaust, we lost 6 million Jews, 1/3 of the Jewish nation, by the sword of Esav. Since then, we lost so many, even more than 6 million, by the hug of Esav. Look at the life over here in America in the last 70 years. If you look at the history of exile, I don't think you will find any place in the world that the Goyim, the non-Jew, hosted us so nicely like in America, right? Democracy, real democracy, Jew could do whatever, no one will tell him don't do that, don't do this. There is a free religion, you could do whatever. Nice, right? In a way, it's very nice. What is the negative side? We are accepted by them. We are not more by the ghetto. We are not a second degree people, right? Nice. But what happened? Jews mixed up with the other, with the goyim over here. And by the hug, they, without understanding, paying the priest and the reform rabbi to marry them off to Virginia, to Christina. And what will be the result? The next generation will not be Jewish. And we're losing them forever. So we have to understand, we are in a real war to keep our identity and to keep the nation. And the nation, the way it is now, is committing suicide. The goyim are nice, don't take me wrong, but we have to take care of our interests, and our interest is to keep the truth, and to keep the idea, and to keep the people, to keep the Jews Jewish. We have a mission in the history. We are the representative of God. We are the representative of truth. But unfortunately, many, many Jews do not know about it. You know, we're talking about 14 million Jews all over the world today. 5 million in Israel, maybe 6 million over here, and the rest all over the world. from all those 14 million, which is not a lot. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we heard that the population of the world crossed the line of 7 billion. 7 billion people, the population of the world. 1% of 7 billion is 70 million. 70 million. The number of Jews today all over the world are 14 million, which is a quarter of 1%. Out of this number, the 14 million, all over the world, maybe 2 million are Jews who know what Judaism, learn Judaism, and practice Judaism, not in the idea, practically. I'm talking about keeping Shabbat, keeping kosher, keeping the Torah Hashem, keeping the mitzvahs and the mitzvah, the Torah that Hashem gave us. The rest, we're talking about almost 12 million. Vast majority of them do not care about Judaism, do not know that they're Jewish, and some of them even hate it. This is the situation. Our mission today, I feel it in all my essence. That's what I devoted my life to take our brothers and sisters and tell them the truth. Tell them how important it is to be Jewish. Educate Judaism, because people do not know what Judaism is all about. And even those who are educated in a twist way, not in the right, accurate, authentic way. This is the problem. So this is the mission of our generation. I look at it exactly like I could save Jews from going to the crematorium. And that's what we have to do. Connect people, do classes like this, be around communities like this, come in Shabbat, be in connection with the Rav and the Rebbetzin, and learn Judaism, because if not, we're going to lose the next generation. You do not want to be this one that for 3,300 years your parents and your family fought and give their life in order to be Jewish, and you're going to be the last Jew in their family because your children will just disappear. You do not want that. So that's what we have to do. I believe that everyone that's here in this room now connected in this way or another to Judaism. That's why you're here, because America could offer you a lot of things to do this morning. You came here because it's important to you, but don't be selfish. You're not allowed to. You have brothers, you have sisters, you have family. We have to take care of every one of our brothers and sisters, because they are our brothers and sisters. And they're not wicked. They are not bad. They just do not know what they're losing. They do not know what Judaism is all about. So our mission is to learn Torah, to spread Torah, and to make Jews be a proud Jewish. This is it. Thank you for listening, and I hope everyone will gain something from that talk. Thank you. Any questions? If you have, lots of time.